my name is Brooke Littman.
And I'm Dr. Deb Littman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink some wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, well, end of the month, so this is the day that we have a guest speaker. So our guest speaker today is our friend, Rafael, and I can't say his name really well the way he does, so I'm going to let him introduce himself. I know Rafael from a job that I had previously, and he is from Portugal, so we're going to have lots of fun with this one. Rafael, how exactly do I say your name?
I know my voice is always very low, but how we say it with our accent, Rafael Stevers.
Okay.
First, last name.
Okay, well I can't do that. I still can't do adios.
That's all right.
I'm still not there. So, that is goodbye, by the way, in Portuguese.
That's right, yes.
So, well, it's my version of goodbye.
But as long as we get it, that's what
Yes,
matters.
exactly. That's exactly right. So, we worked together about, I guess it's been, it's going on 2 years. So 18 months. It's been about 18 months since we worked together.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah. And so, thank you. I'm so glad we remain friends.
Oh, of course. My pleasure.
Yeah. But we spent a lot of afternoons, you teaching me history lessons.
Yes.
I don't know if you recall that.
Of course.
So, that every time, I watch a documentary or something, some kind of history lesson, I think of you.
Okay.
So, it really got me interested in history, because, it's like history is something that is ongoing.
Of course.
I mean, it's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that, others will talk about another day, and it'll be called history.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I just find that fascinating because I was not really good at history, and I didn't have any interest or anything like that when I was in school. But tell us about, there's so many things I want to ask, and I'm hoping Brooke has lots of questions too. But I'd like for you to tell us about, because you're English, you sound like you've been speaking English your whole life.
Okay, well.
So how have you learned English?
Well, you basically summarized it perfectly. I mostly have been speaking English all my life. Because in Portugal, we don't dub over our media, right? TV, movies. We don't dub over that. Everything is subtitled, and that's actually a good segue to part of history.
Yes, go ahead.
Because so what happened? Okay, so basically, so it's 2025. Doing math quickly, it's already 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So around, let's say, 80 years ago. Around 80 years ago, Portugal was a dictatorship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Classic European country was a dictatorship, the good old 20th century. And the guy in charge of our country was a man named António de Oliveira Salazar. That was his name. Background on him, he used to be the Minister of Economy, and then they were like, hey, dude, do you want to be president? And he was like, sure. And then they were like, do you want to keep doing this? And he was like, I will keep doing this. I'm now president perpetually. And
Okay.
It's a dictatorship. It's how it works. And he was very, obviously, like most dictators, he was an ultranationalist, right? Portugal first, Portugal better. Nobody else can stack up, right? Exactly.
Exactly.
And he didn't want people getting the different idea that maybe others do some things good too. He didn't want this. So whenever foreign films came to Portugal from the U.S. or other countries, he would only he would bring the movies in, but he would only put in the subtitles. And back then, most people couldn't read, so nobody saw these movies, so they didn't get any ideas. And that persisted so much that like the voice acting culture never really, and industry never really developed. So we still today we subtitle everything, and because of that, I'm exposed to English always from a very young age. Me, everyone I know from my generation, and so video games especially help, and that is why basically I've been speaking English all my life.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you recall, but one of my favorite things that you told me was you actually learned English from Scooby-Doo.
Oh yes, yeah, that was the first. That was the first. Yeah, exactly. Because Cartoon Network, best channel for cartoons, and they were all in English, of course. And Cartoon Network especially didn't have subtitles.
Okay.
But I wanted to watch the good cartoons, so we just sit there every day, watching, listening, learning, and eventually you get it. And yeah, some of the first was Scooby-Doo, and you sit there and you realize that when Shaggy says, "Scooby-Doo, where are you?" You're like, okay, so he's looking for somebody. So that's what that means.
Where? Yeah.
And you start making these connections, and eventually you learn.
That's right. That's funny because one thing that someone told us early on when we first moved here, I would say, "Oh, dein English is besser als mein Deutsch. Your English is better than my German." And she said to us, "Well, it's easier for us." She said, "All the music we like, all the movies we like, everything's in English. Plus, we learn English in school." She said, "So, yeah, that is to be expected for my English to be better than your German."
Right.
So, and I thought, well, I never even thought about the music aspect of it. But there are a lot of celebrities in the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'd say it's 90% of the world's celebrities, right?
I would think. I don't know, but I mean, that's something that would be interesting to learn because there are. I don't know if you've heard about the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
You heard about the halftime show?
Yes, it's a big thing, and Kendrick was on this year,
yeah,
right?
I heard that Kendrick Lamar. I of course we couldn't see it here, so I apologize, Kendrick, that we didn't get to see you. But fortunately, people have kind of kept me informed as to what it meant, and so I think I really missed a good show.
Okay.
I think I missed a really good show.
Yeah.
And I'm sad about that, but I'm not too sad. I mean, I'm super excited about Jalen Hurts and his team winning, so that was exciting. But yeah. So okay, what brought you to Switzerland?
The same thing that brings most people, I think.
Yep.
The money.
Yeah.
It's the money. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
We're not here to tell lies. It's the money.
No, we are not. Okay.
So yeah, basically there was a huge difference, not just in salary, but mainly in opportunities between Switzerland and Portugal. And after a while after I finished university, after a while of looking for work, middle of COVID times, which was also didn't help. I thought, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna get a job, make barely enough to live and to pay rent, and be miserable all the time. No, thank you.
That's kind of how it is in the U.S. for people your age. I mean, you either know somebody and can kind of work your way out, but you really need to know somebody.
It's about to get a lot worse though. Now
I think
there's no.
We don't go political.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. And so, but I think we spoke to actually our waitress today at the Grunenecke. She's been in Switzerland 2 years from Italy, and I had there were several people in my German classes from Italy about her age, about your age, you guys' age, and the unemployment rate, from what I understood from a girl that was in my German class, for people your age bracket is like 68% unemployment. So she had to come here to get a job and to move. So she's been here from Italy for 2 years, and so I just find it I'm glad. I'm so glad you came because we got to meet each other and we've
Sure.
become friends. And but I also find it. I guess I can see so many similarities. You know where we're from, and it seems like the whole world is kind of floating on the same boat.
Oh, definitely.
It's just one part of the storm is hitting harder in other places.
Right.
It's kind of like we're all on the same ocean, just in different types of boats, or the storm, hits us a little harder in the smaller boats,
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing.
I think we've also made our own storm,
We have, yeah.
That's-
By the way, this wine is fantastic
Well,
from Portugal.
I'm
We've got
glad.
a photo. We'll have a photo on Instagram, you guys, next week for it. But again, really, really good.
yes. I knew it had to be this wine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Because this is like I was saying before, this is the get together, talk, drink wine.
Oh,
Do you know like
perfect.
what kind of wine this is? Like in terms of
No, what grape? And is that what you're saying?
yeah. So there's
No, we do
red
not.
wine, white wine. Do you know
Yeah.
what kind of wine this is?
I assumed it was a sparkling white.
Ah, okay. Yes, of course. You look at it.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
the
I
assumption, of
assumed,
course.
yeah.
No, this is green wine.
Green.
Yes, this is green wine.
Oh, this is
Exactly.
fantastic.
Yes.
Tell us about green wine.
Okay, so basically, it is a different kind of grape, and it is a different region of Portugal where they grow it. Process is the same, but it does have this sort of more, let's call it a champagne sort of taste, and it is definitely a social wine. That one, especially that brand, is especially known for. The whole marketing is get people together, drink this wine.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And I thought, yeah, it had to be this one, so I brought it, and I'm glad you guys like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is good. It's a good sweet wine. It's we had that huge lunch I was telling you about. It So this is good. This is good for us. We actually did have a glass of prosecco after we got home, but I ate so much at lunch today. That this is exactly what I need this evening.
I'm glad.
Okay, good. So Brooke, you need to have a few questions for Rafael, our friend from Portugal. Okay, I have a question. So a lot of times I will try to hear people from an area or a country or a region speak, and I try to pick up on that, not necessarily the accent, but the way they sound words. And so, when I was growing up, and learning the little bit of geography that I learned Portugal. Okay, Portugal. But then, as I got older, I met people from around the world, especially anyone who immigrated to the United States. And I met someone, and she said Portugal.
Right.
And so when I say Portugal, does that seem offensive to you
Oh, no, not at
as
all.
a native?
No, it seems more correct because you're emphasizing the right syllable, right? Because when you say Portugal, you're it's very closed, but we say Portugal. We
Yeah.
open it at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say you're
Okay.
you're on track.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I definitely can't speak as fast and make blend things the way you do. It's almost like you've got to, plan a blender or something. I don't know. But the sounds blend so beautifully, and I can't.
That's like a thing where people who speak certain languages pick up certain ways to use their voice box that sounds differently. So like there are languages where you speak on the inhale instead of the exhale.
Okay.
Like a lot of Western languages. And so they, like from a young age, they learn how to speak that certain way. When you take, like I did this in an acting class where we spoke Omnish, which is basically just a bunch of gibberish words and sounds that you create, like trying to utilize different dialects from different languages. So like whether it's the speaking on the inhale or like making clicking sounds, like that kind of thing. And like just trying to learn and understand how people speak other languages. So yeah.
Show me, what do you mean speaking on the inhale? Give me an
Like-
example.
I don't think I can do it.
Okay.
I haven't like done that before, but a lot of like African languages and dialects, so like tribal languages, I think Afrikaans might utilize that a little bit, but it's instead of, you know how like when you speak, you exhale and the words come out, right? So instead of
I think
that,
so.
it's the opposite.
Okay.
Take the words in as you speak
Yeah.
them. Interesting. Okay.
Okay, well, I can't do that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that,
Because
that's
it's
definite, a
something that you
definite
like
no.
grow and learn.
Okay,
as
well,
you-
yeah.
So
I get
that's
that.
why like what a native speaker can speak faster, obviously in their language, and like as you progress in the language, you speak faster because you're picking up on like certain ways of speaking. And that's why when I was talking to you about like learning the accents, it's helpful to understand the alphabet very well. Because then you know how every letter sounds, and then like when you put it together, except of course Swiss German.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
we're-
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a whole another monster.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. Okay. Favorite saga of all time. It's Star Wars. 100%.
Okay, all right.
100%.
Favorite. So we got the Star Wars saga. Well, okay, are you enjoying? Well, first I wanted to know why, and then you could go into: are you enjoying anything that Star Wars is coming out with now, like these new TV series? And have you watched The Acolyte?
Okay, so that's a multi-part question.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. Yes,
Start at the
many
beginning then.
parts. Start at the beginning. Why Star Wars?
Why Star Wars? I think on one hand it's a lot of coincidence. I think because when I was very young, like 5 or 6, my grandfather was watching it on TV. He was actually watching episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and I just remember it. And then a few years later, I watched other movies, and I was like, okay, this is it. And then I watched them in order, and I was like, oh, this story actually makes sense. Because I watched, from beginning to end, I watched the third one. I watched Revenge of the Sith, and then the original trilogy, and then 1 and 2. And it only clicked with me that it was the same story when I watched the second one, like Attack of the Clones. And I was like, oh, and this leads into Revenge of the Sith. Okay, it's one whole story. And then in my naive, childish mind, because I watched the original trilogy and I'm like, okay, spoiler alert for a very good movie. Darth Vader's Luke's father, right? And Luke is Leia's brother, so consequently, Darth Vader is also Leia's father. And then Anakin is Darth Vader. And then you watch it around, you watch episode 1, and you're like, oh, okay.
And he seems such a sweet kid, right?
Exactly.
How could he turn into that? That
Exactly.
was my thought. He's such a good kid.
How could he do it?
Right.
And I thought to myself, and then watching that, I was like, okay, Anakin, the kid, and the girl Padme, right? They're probably gonna get together. Second movie, they get together. But until the very end of the movie, last scene, when they get married on Naboo, it hadn't clicked with me that Padme was Luke and Leia's mom, because in my naive young mind, you couldn't have kids until you were married.
Right. Okay. All right.
So I was like, oh, they're married. So she's their mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think the greater question of why Star Wars, I think it's the best story ever told, because it's simple, right? It's the ultimate struggle between good and evil, and the message is no one is irredeemable unless you're the Emperor, who is just evil for evil's sake, which is also good. Some people are just evil. It is what it is. And it's just perfect, I think. It's everything you need, right?
Okay. Well, I want to come back to some people are just evil. But let's hold on. I want to finish up what I've asked you
Of
first.
course.
So the next one is: are you enjoying the different little series that are coming out of the story of Star Wars?
Yes. It's
Okay.
the most recent Disney things,
Yeah.
right? Yes, definitely. Mandalorian was cool.
Yep.
Third season a bit rushed, but I still liked it a lot. Andor is amazing.
Oh, Andor was fantastic.
Andor is so good. It's so
That
good.
was
Did you watch Andor?
really.
It's so good.
I didn't even see the
I
Mandalorian.
really-
So.
Okay.
I really liked Andor.
And Andor is so good, and ultimately very tragic, right? Because we've seen Rogue One, we know where it's going.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do know that story.
But it's so good. It's so brilliant. I like Ahsoka a lot.
Okay, I
Yes.
like that one. Okay.
I like Ahsoka so much because they brought back my favorite character, which is Grand Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn is my favorite character in
Okay.
Star Wars, and they butchered him a little bit in Rebels, which was where he
Okay.
first showed up,
Yeah.
the animated series. But then they brought him back, and I think they're doing him a lot more justice this time around. And I'm like, okay, perfect. This is going very well. Also, the scenes where Ahsoka talks to Anakin, and they got Hayden Christensen to play Anakin. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Same with
Yeah, that was good.
same
That
with the
was a
Obi-Wan
smart-
show.
Mhm.
Very good. I did not see the Acolyte. People were like, they weren't just like, oh, it's bad because politics. No, they were, it's bad because it makes no sense. I was like, okay.
That's where I'm at on it. I mean, as far as the acting goes, it's okay. The scenery and some of the places they go, Star Wars, I get that. I love, how Star Wars, makes nature look so good.
Right.
Like
Yes.
there's some beautiful parts of nature that these directors and writers create, and I love that about the Star Wars shows. But yeah, it's not making sense to me.
Right.
So it's just not making sense.
Yeah,
But
that's what
I
I
mean that's okay. Maybe I just need to see it 2 or 3 times
heard.
because again, the acting's not horrible.
Sure.
I mean, yes, I've seen better acting. Yes, I've seen worse acting. So it's not horrible acting. Okay, but this whole thing about, because I got more personal questions too, but this whole thing about evil for, some people are just evil.
Yeah.
That has always been hard for me to swallow from my generation. Because, and I feel like I say this in almost every other podcast, Brooke. Brooke's getting so tired of this. I was taught you treat people the way you want to be treated, and everyone who's listened to these knows that I have accepted that I know that not to be true, because I would treat people the way I wanted to be treated, and guess what? They didn't learn how I wanted to be treated. I still have to ask and say to them, okay, I don't like it when you do this, so this is what I prefer you do around me. I still have to, so people aren't learning how I want to be treated by me behaving in a certain way. So, but I also, maybe it's just my generation, was taught that people aren't evil. Everybody's always born good. Now that might be that upbringing in that evangelical home that I was brought up in, and there just is no inherent evil.
I mean, it's a nice thought, I think.
I think it is a nice thought, but I think I'm starting to believe the truth, your truth, and it's probably going to soon be my truth. I think maybe there are some inherent evil.
I mean, like, some people are inherently good, some will be inherently evil. Makes sense, right?
What do you think the majority of us are, though? A little bit of yin yang?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, who is truly altruistic? I don't know, Mother Teresa, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to think that, but, I never knew her, never met her. So, was she? Because
No.
I think of Mother Teresa, and I think...
Apparently not. I mean, but I don't know. I remember reading something that was like she wasn't 100% a good person. Like maybe it was something about like she was racist or something like
Yeah.
that. But I don't know if that's true. But
Yeah. Well, when I think of Mother Teresa,
Mhm.
I think of the nun on Elf. But the children love the books. This is my Mother Teresa moment.
Okay.
And, so, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and, well, I know that a lot of people, especially, again, my generation, I don't think we recognize our racism in ourselves, especially not people that look like me, white women. I don't think we recognize our racism. I don't think we recognize our misogynistic side of us in my generation. And so I think when these growth spurts that we have to grow, we have to get better. And I think that it's kind of hard for some people, especially in my age group, because I don't want to be racist. I don't want to be a pushover. I don't want men to think that they can, that because I'm a woman, I'm not this, and I'm only this. So I think that there's a lot of growth to happen. But your generation you just seem to be so well put together on all that stuff. On that side of stuff,
I mean, considering... Well, no, I can't say that because you don't want to be political.
No, I don't, and that was actually your rule when we started this podcast. Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was your rule, because you know how I feel.
Yeah, well...
Anyway, I still got more questions, but go ahead and say what you said.
Okay, well, what I was going to say is that you can take any person that you would see as, like, is definitely a very good person and find something about it. Martin Luther King Jr. was sexist and had affairs. George Washington owned slaves. So did Thomas Jefferson. So did James Madison. Like,
absolutely,
you can find something about them, but you have to also remember like the time that they lived in.
Of course.
I understand.
It's different.
And but is that justifying it?
It's not about justifying it. You're not. You're saying. Like, you do have to remember that times were different. It's not justifying.
So, are we saying, but we need to learn and do better? Like,
yes,
like each generation just does better just naturally because...
Not just naturally.
Okay.
Yeah, not naturally, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't remove the context of the time people lived in, obviously.
Yeah, that's hard. Mm-hmm. But I think, unfortunately, some people do take that as justification. I don't want to. I certainly don't want, when I was growing up, my high school was very, very white. Like there were black students, but I can't think of anybody that might have been Hispanic.
Sure.
I can't. Maybe there were one or two, but not so much that and so. But where I saw the dividing lines in my high school was not in race. It was socioeconomic status.
Can we take a second so I can...
Absolutely. And I'm going to grab the wine at the same time.
Please.
Yes, please. I want some. So, okay. So, my next question, unless you want to answer this question, Brooke. Well, let's go ahead and put the wine out so you guys can see it. If anybody wants to zoom in. Yeah, well, they can see the wine.
That's the point.
Give yourself more wine than that.
Probably, anyway. Prost.
Prost.
Yeah, Prost. Okay. Favorite song of all time.
My favorite song of all time. I mean...
I'm sorry. I know, that's such a tough one.
Question. I could go the patriotism route.
Okay.
And say best song of all time, Portuguese national anthem. 100%
okay,
best song of all time.
Yeah, it
does make you feel a certain way. Like
it does. I think I think so.
When you're in a stadium, because we only sing it at football games. So when you're at a stadium.
And any U.S. listeners, that means soccer.
Yes, exactly.
They know we have a football Friday.
Yeah, they have. That's right. They have a football Friday.
Yes, I've seen it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, when you're there in the stadium, 80,000 people and everybody's singing, you're like, damn, this is what it's all about.
The goosebumps.
Exactly.
Tears in the eyes.
Yes.
Woo. Okay.
But again, I don't listen to it regularly. It's not on the Spotify playlist. Right?
Okay.
Of course.
You don't have your national anthem on your playlist?
Yes, I am a disgrace. They will revoke my citizenship. There was a time, this is actually a funny thing, there was a time when half the people, like this was recent, this was like maybe 20, 25 years ago, half the people in Portugal didn't know the national anthem by heart. It took the Euro Cup of 2004 that was in Portugal, for everybody to learn, because now this is it. Now we're on. It's our time. And everybody learned, and the guy who taught us, who said, no, you guys gotta learn, was the...
Cristiano.
This is a bit before his time.
Okay.
No, he did play in the Euro. He was very young, he was 16. He played in the Euro 2004. He was already very good. He wasn't the star. We had other stars. That was the best team of all time. Euro 2004. Holy shit. We still cry every day because we lost. We lost in the finals. Finals against Greece. We cry every day. I'm not going to get into it. But
Griezmann.
Yeah, but
Griezmann plays for France.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But is he from?
He's French, but he's half Portuguese, actually.
Oh, he's half Portuguese.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But the guy who taught us, no, you should learn your national anthem, was the trainer of the team, who was actually Brazilian. And he was like, no, you guys...
That is awesome.
Learn this.
I love that story. Oh, wow.
Is it bad? I think that's kind of ironic that he was Brazilian.
It is very ironic. And he got us there. And it was a very hard time. Like, fun fact, Ronaldo played. He wasn't going to play in the final. Because he just got a call before the game that his dad had died. Yeah. and he wasn't gonna play, but he turned to the coach and was like, no, it's the
And
final.
my dad would want me to play,
Yeah,
probably.
let's go. It's the final. Gotta go.
Oh.
And we lost, and he cried so much
Well,
there
yeah,
on the field,
because
and it was
so
terrible.
much. He had so much coming out of his heart. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
bad.
well, that's a good reason for that to be your favorite song. But
Right, but it is not. It varies a bit, I guess. But my favorite band of all time, 100%, has to be Sabaton,
okay,
which is a Swedish power metal band,
okay.
and they sing about history.
Oh, fantastic.
They sing about
Okay.
history.
Alright.
There's actually a concert in Zurich, I think, in November that I'm going to.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And what is my favorite song from them? Again, it changes.
Okay.
But I think one that I always come back to, it was, people were saying for years, make a song about this. When they finally did, amazing. It's called Bismarck.
Okay.
And it's about the battleship, the Bismarck.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not about the guy.
Okay.
It's not about Otto von Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor, which is a cool name.
Yeah.
The Iron Chancellor. It's just, people get such cool nicknames.
Yeah.
He was actually Otto von Bismarck was actually shot 7 times in the street and survived. Some bullets ricocheted off his ribs.
My goodness gracious, are you serious?
Yeah. Back then, guns weren't as
I
powerful.
sort of say that could not have been a powerful bullet.
No. Back then, guns weren't that good. but
It
actually,
was not the go-to weapon.
no, not at all. But the ship is named after him, obviously.
Okay.
The Bismarck. And the curious facts about the Bismarck, it's every ship is a she, right?
Yeah.
Except the Bismarck.
Okay.
The Germans, they said no, it's the Bismarck, Bismarck.
Okay.
It was the largest battleship to ever sail the Atlantic, and it sank almost immediately.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because, long story short, otherwise I'll get in the whole tangent. So this was obviously World War II, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Germans had a plan. It was called Plan Z. And Plan Z was made by one of their high-ranking admirals. I don't remember the name, but the guy was like, okay, we're going to build the best navy in the world. It's going to be great. And Bismarck was the first and smallest. It was supposed to be the smallest ship in Plan Z, and it was the biggest ship ever built at the time. This is the smallest ship in our plan. And they sailed it out to sea, and they said, this ship's invincible. So the whole Titanic story all over again. This ship is invincible.
Yeah.
So it was just the Bismarck and an escort ship called the Prince Eugen. And the job was simple: destroy convoys coming from the U.S. to Great Britain, destroy them, cut off their supplies, win, right? And they sailed to the Denmark Strait, which the Denmark Strait is actually, if you know where it is.
Is that between Sweden and, no.
No, it actually
Okay.
no. The Denmark Strait, if you don't know.
No, we don't know.
It's actually between Canada and Greenland.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
So it's because Greenland belongs to Denmark.
Yeah.
That's why it's the Denmark
Are
Strait.
you sure? Because they might not. Okay, I thought we were.
I thought we were
I'm
talking
sorry.
about politics.
Anyway, I thought it was red, white, and blue land. I'm sorry, Greenland.
Yes.
Sorry, not red, white, and blue.
So that's where the Denmark Strait is. And in the Denmark Strait, the Bismarck and the Prince Eugen faced off against the Hood and the Prince of Wales, which were the 2 biggest British ships at the time. The Hood was the flagship of the Navy. It was a clash of titans. And the Bismarck wins. Bismarck sinks the Hood. Panic all around the world.
Because the little ship beat the big ship.
No, the Bismarck was bigger,
Oh, okay.
but the Hood was not small. They were relatively equal. The Hood was the biggest, best British ship.
Okay.
And it sank. Panic, everybody. And Churchill picks up the phone and he sends a message to every ship in the fleet around the world, and he says, sink the Bismarck. It's the only this is all we got to do, sink the Bismarck. The Hood sinking was such a disgrace that the captain went down with the ship. He was like, people were like, we got to get out of here. We're all going to die. He's like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Too much of a shame. Can't bear it. Gotta go. This is the way. It is. They win. We lose. It is what it is. And so hunt down the Bismarck, sink it, and a few months later, off the coast of France, it was sunk almost by miracle because they were using planes. The British were using biplanes from the First World War to drop torpedoes. Torpedoes did not work 80% of the time. One did, hit the fuel tanks, sunk the Bismarck immediately. Sunk almost by miracle. And there it is, the flagship of the Navy, the terror of the seas. So it was called Bismarck, the terror of the seas. Gone instantly.
And your favorite band made a song
About the story of Bismarck, and they say in the song, which is true, 2,000 men and 50,000 tons of steel was what it took to build the Bismarck and to run it. 2,000 people, 2,000 sailors. Of those 2,003 survived, I think, the sinking of the Bismarck. And there it rests at the bottom of the ocean, the depths of the abyss, as they say.
It's still there.
Yes, yeah. And it had a sister ship called the Tirpitz. They were basically the same. And the Tirpitz sank off the coast of northern Finland.
Okay.
And if you go to a northern Finnish beach, you can see it.
Oh, okay. We want to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So remind us, people, we're wanting to go to northern Finland.
Well, if we go in the winter, then we can see the northern lights.
Well, we might just have to go twice. Because, you know,
Be cold.
even though that beach is still going to be cold. Okay, so my favorite story about Portugal, and I want you to, I think you already know this,
Sure.
is about they built kind of wave machines.
Right. Yes. It was an idea they had in one of our universities. I don't remember which. It was like, okay, we can harness solar energy, we can harness wind power. We need to harness the power of the waves. That's the most Portuguese thing.
Because there's power
Yes.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, but of course, that's 100% the most Portuguese idea in the world. Yes, the sea. We can do that. Let's go. Didn't work. Bottom line, didn't work. They built them. Cables were too long. The propellants weren't really working as they should. Sometimes the sea is still. Yeah, it wasn't great.
But I think I personally thought it was a great idea. I hope that they can figure out, work out the kinks, and because it also kind of looked kind of cool. My only issue with it is it's this big piece of something, metal, steel, in the ocean. So we have to be careful that it's not in, I guess, traffic.
Right.
It's got to be they have to be placed in areas that we know are not going to sink ships.
Yeah.
Like as we're talking
This
about.
is not really related to that, but it kind of is just by a little bit. I read something the other day about how most of the sinkings in the ocean that are attributed to the Bermuda Triangle did not actually happen in the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so where did they happen?
Outside of the
Yeah, exactly.
Bermuda Triangle.
Like right outside?
Kind of.
Yeah, more or
Okay.
less.
But it's also like one of the most traveled areas in the world, like in the sea. And, well, not just in the sea, in the air too, but.
Yeah.
So statistically, it makes sense
Yeah.
that most things would sink there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not aliens.
I can remember
Are you sure?
when I was in high
Pretty
school,
sure.
that was
It's
the
the
big
fish people.
story. I mean, I was terrified of
Yeah.
the Bermuda Triangle. Like, I just thought, I was really totally
Well,
afraid.
haven't you been to Miami before?
I've been to Miami.
So you've been to the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay. Well, anyway, Miami's something else.
It starts at the.
You need to be
Florida
young
and then
to
goes
visit Miami. I was too old at the time, and I was only in my
Well,
40s.
you went to see the Beach Boys.
I did. They actually, their concert that they put on was actually just for our group.
I know.
Like, it was a private concert
Really?
from the surviving Beach Boys, yes.
Fantastic.
And we were right there with them. I mean, the pictures I have, I was right at the stage with my club. And it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun.
I can
It
imagine.
was a lot of fun. Yeah, but yeah, I like Miami. It's sinking, I think, but
Aren't
every
we
time
all?
it rains, aren't we all?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's why the Dutch are
You
2
know,
meters tall. So when
yeah.
the sea level rises, they'll survive.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness, yeah.
No,
who's
he's
the-
Belgian.
He's Belgian. I'm sorry.
I knew what you were gonna.
Yeah,
She was gonna
and
ask
the-
about Courtois.
There's a
Who's the goalie
football
for Real
goalie.
Madrid?
Right, yes.
He is 2 meters tall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is that old general area. I don't know what it is
That's
about, but they are naturally tall.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But they don't play basketball. They don't play basketball.
No, the Viking dude from Norway, he's a football player too.
Holland.
He's not-
Yeah.
Oh,
for
from
Man
Holland.
City.
Oh, yeah.
No, his name is Holland.
Oh, his name is Holland. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
He's from Norway. Yeah.
Okay.
He plays for Manchester City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know a lot more about soccer than me. 100%. But like definitely.
Been doing a lot of research.
She's a fan.
It's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of places that we're terrified of, I used to be terrified of Transylvania because everybody's like, dude, that's where vampires come from. I'm like,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
Why not go there? Where is it? Oh, it's in Romania. Okay.
Yep.
Mark it off the map.
So it's so funny because one of your well, I don't know if you actually know him, but Todd works with him quite
Does he still work
close.
there?
He's still there
Oh,
because
okay.
your dad just said the other day, I can ask so and so. But Todd always says, "Oh, don't worry, he's a vampire." He doesn't like
I think
right
that's
in
a
front
joke.
of him.
No, I
And
think
I'm like,
no, I think it's
what
a
if he
joke that they all
doesn't take it
have.
as a joke though? He's so nice and quiet. You don't know if he takes it as a joke or not, or if he's like, eventually, I'm going to kill this man.
Well, I mean,
Well, then she's proving everyone right, so he can't do it.
Well,
He can't
I
do
guess,
it.
I guess. But anyway, he's so nice. He is so super nice.
That's good.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so ask about your favorite song, your favorite music, favorite movie. Is there a okay, all right, right up your alley. Favorite video game right now? What are you playing right
What
now?
am I playing right now? Marvel Rivals.
Oh,
I'm playing
okay.
Marvel Rivals right now, yeah. Yeah.
On what system?
PS5.
Okay,
And
Alright.
PC, actually. You actually have an account on both, yeah.
okay.
I'd say that's what I'm playing right now. What I should be playing is like Elden Ring or...
That's what's going on right back
yeah,
here. Right
I can imagine. That's what I
That's
should be
happening
playing.
right now. It happens almost every night in this house.
Right. It's
Yeah.
such a good game. I love the story. The story's amazing. And it's brilliant because that type of game, they don't tell you the story.
Mm-hmm.
You go to an NPC and you start talking and they tell you all these cryptic riddles that you're
Yeah.
like, what the hell's this guy talking
Yeah.
about? I have no idea. And then you start reading item descriptions and really paying attention. You're like, okay, so I'm starting to get
Yeah.
something. And then you go to YouTube and some guy's like, so here's the deal.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, okay, now I get it.
Okay, so games like that, to me, I don't play games, but I think I would like things like that because I like kind of figuring, it's almost like being in an escape room.
Oh, yeah,
You only get hints.
exactly.
But here's my thing. My perspective and the way I think, what some people automatically know from a hint, I go the complete opposite direction. My brain goes to the complete opposite of what it really is.
is that why when you're in the grocery store you can't see the things that are right in front of you?
No, I don't think that's why that is. I think that's because when I'm in public, I'm terrified, and so my brain's just not working. It's funny because I've explained this to my students. Our brains really, it's almost like, especially certain ones of us in the world, those of us on the autism spectrum, those of us who have had adverse childhood experiences, trauma, our brains really do work different. And so it's almost like the thing that causes you a lot of stress, it's almost like a door closes and just completely closes off the front side of your brain. You cannot make logical, smart decisions. And so when I get into a space where there are other people, the door shuts, my frontal lobe is closed, and who knows what I'm going to say or do. You know. So, and I know that about myself. And other people close to me know that, but you know what? They still forget when we're in this situation.
Mhm.
They forget that, oh, her frontal lobe just got closed off. Oh, you know. But, you know, and I try to teach my students that, you know, you might be in this situation where, and can you tell me a time when you knew the answer, you knew what to do, but you still made the wrong decision anyway?
Hmm.
And all the time they think, oh yeah, I do it every time.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, and how do we build strategies to help with that? You know, and you know, this just is such a hard thing to teach people. Because I mean, I'm hitting 60, you know, and I still don't know. I still don't know the answers. So, you know, so I don't know. I think it's funny. All right, Brooke, question for Rafael.
I have to go
Putting you
for
on the
something?
spot.
No, that doesn't work.
Oh no, did the door close on your front door?
It's coming back. It's coming back around.
Oh no. Okay, what are you watching any sports right now? And if so, what is your favorite sport that you're watching?
That's a good question. I very rarely watch sports, to be honest. I always, when it's Portugal playing, watch every game. But other than that, I do rarely watch sports. I mean, more physical, like kick a ball, throw a thing. Yeah, that I should get into it more because I do like it. I do like the whole competition aspect and seeing someone do some crazy thing and you're like, oh damn.
Oh yeah. Some of the players, I'm flabbergasted. How do I say his name? Mbappe.
Mbappe.
And the other one,
Vinicius?
yes, his footwork is like, what did I just see? I'm just like, what? I'm amazed by the footwork on a soccer field.
Good.
Sorry, football field, football pitch. Sorry,
Some of the best in the world.
Oh, yeah.
it's just amazing.
And because I used to I've always really liked sports, but I've never been able to watch them because I've always been super busy. And then in college, when I probably had some time that I could have watched them, I didn't because I didn't have people to watch them with. So now that I'm finally getting into watching, I am really loving football.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, recently I watched a couple of games from the handball world championship.
I love handball. Oh wow.
Because for the first time, Portugal was in the quarterfinals. And we lost against Denmark, who are the champions 3 times in a row now.
They are phenomenal.
Yes, they
Phenomenal
know what they're doing.
handball. I love it.
It is a very Viking sport, right? Yes,
Yes,
throw ball.
yes.
Yes, of course. This is what we do.
I love it. Love it.
So it makes sense that they're good at what they do.
Yeah, I think handball is just so much fun to watch.
Also, one other thing, I was thinking about this earlier, and I know I talked about it with someone, but whenever, even if you don't like the country you're from, everyone becomes so, nationalistic when their team is playing in any kind of major tournament.
100%.
Anything. I mean, you see it with the World Cup. Even people who don't like soccer in the United States, when the U.S. is in the World Cup, they go insane, right? And people, even if they don't like any kind of sports, they get so crazy nationalistic for their team when any kind of major tournament happens.
Exactly.
You played as the NC Courage on FIFA. Which one?
23.
FIFA 23 the other
day,
Thursday.
as the women's team.
Yeah.
Because NC Courage is the best women's team ever.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
probably
yeah,
not. But I think
just-
they're the best in
They're
the
really
US
good.
Women's League.
They're really good.
Yeah.
They've gotten some great players, over the years. They've recruited well, had good coaching. So, and I think Raleigh was really lucky to get them. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I hate that, we didn't get to go to a game, but my friend goes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she goes to a lot of
That
games.
make-
So
that-
I kind
that
of keep
makes
up with them
sense.
through her. Yeah, yeah, because of the son. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, so, that does make a lot of sense. But yeah, they're, I think it's a lot of, I'm glad that you kind of picked up on it, I know, you started running like that. It's so different from, you grew up as a dancer. You've been dancing since you were 6 years old, and danced all through college. And then you graduate, and now you're picking up running and other different sports that you're enjoying. So I think it's great. And then so, Okay.
Of course, I should do sports.
Well, anytime you want to come kick a ball.
What I wanted to do...
I've got a basketball too.
Well,
That's also cool.
Yeah.
what I wanted
like
to do
basketball.
was what I was thinking of was because they're in this area specifically because of Biogen, there's a lot of expats and immigrants into Switzerland, and what I kind of wanted to do was to set up an amateur kind of expat league or immigrant league of football or something, so that people could play together and.
Well, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to kind of do a weekend tournament. With I don't know if we need to speak with J&J because there's probably expats that work for J&J, but we could get Biogen and other companies that have, because 25% of Switzerland's workforce
Yes.
are immigrants. So it'd be kind of fun, to maybe, do a little soccer tournament, sponsor a soccer tournament. That would be kind of fun. I don't know how to find out how to do it, but it would be a fun little nonprofit that we could put together.
There's so many, like, immigrants, and, like, I know, like, we've talked about this, how it can be really tough to, like, meet other people and, like, make new friends and stuff, so I think it would be really
That would be a great way to meet people, us getting a food truck there with the meet for too.
Oh, yeah, our barbecue food truck that we wanted to start.
Yeah, so many ideas.
Sounds like a good idea.
We wanted to, yeah. So, one thing that I like to ask people, and it kind of takes us towards our end of our show, but I want to ask you this. It's kind of a two-pronged question.
Okay.
Are you living your best life, and do you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose?
That's a good question. That comes from the principle that I know what my purpose is, which is also another loaded question.
Yeah. It's okay.
I have no idea. I try to do my best, but at the end of the day, most of life is basically paying bills.
It seems to me. Yeah.
Right, it's a bit of a dour tone, but it is what it is. Do I like it here? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do like it here. Some things should be better. Some things could be worse. But I'm good. Not really much. For me in my life, not much to complain about. So I guess sure.
So if you know at such a young age what your purpose is would you share that with us?
If I knew, sure. I don't know. I honestly, I have no idea. I never saw a greater, calling a greater. Okay, this is me. I gotta go there. This is never, and it's never been me.
Okay.
Really. I think it also has a lot to do with upbringing, right?
Yes.
What you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I've always been, and most people I know, were always taught to be. No, you're just another one, right? Just another individual, right? Live your life. Like there's no, just do what you can, So yeah, I've never found the calling, whatever that might be,
Yeah, I can see that. That's fair. So, along when just live your life, is it? Do you feel like you kind of always heard that from people and felt that as a positive?
Yeah. Yes, because that's what everyone does, right? It's the standard. It's the norm. Just live your life, right? Well, there's never been much of, for me at least, from the environment I was raised in, there's never been much of an alternate path. It's go to school, go to university, get a job, start a family, die, right?
Okay.
So this is basically it. There was never, hey, do this, or I don't know, follow your dreams. This is never the message. And then it's a feedback loop, right? And to a certain extent, you ask me, well, what's your purpose? Like, I don't have one, because that's not how I was instructed to exist. It's just get a job, pay your bills. And then I get a lot of this when I have conversations like with my grandparents, and the way they think, and then the way my parents think to a certain extent. My dad's changed a lot. My dad is now like what you describe like a crypto bro is my dad. He made this change when he was 50, right? And he's into that now. But the rest of my family, it's like, no, this is just how life is. This linear path. And you get a job so you can pay your bills, so you can live your life and start a family and then die someday. Just,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit depressing, but
I don't think it's depressing, especially if you're living kind of a life that you were brought up that if you're living a purpose, because everybody takes that word differently,
Right.
Like you were saying, some people take it as a calling, some people just take it as an intent. Am I living my life intentionally to be a good person and not leave people unpaid?
Right.
Pay my bills,
Right.
do the right thing, and don't hurt people, and be kind, as often as you can. and I hate to say this, I hate to segue this route, but last night we went to a hockey game,
Okay.
and there were a lot of people that weren't kind.
Makes sense.
Was it just the atmosphere? I don't know. Was it the alcohol? I don't know. Was it just the way they behave at a game? I don't know. It was funny,
Yeah, it's probably.
but I don't know.
It's a lot of people, like, sometimes there's I don't know, a protest or a riot or something, and somebody does something, breaks a window, sets a car on fire, and then they get caught and they're arrested, and they're sitting there genuinely saying, I have no idea how I could do this.
Oh, I got that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you hear that. You really do hear people's stories, and they're like, I was just caught up in the moment. I don't know. And then they have these character witnesses that come forward and say, they're just not like this. I don't understand how you can think that they're just like this, because they're not. They're usually so kind. And so I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Mob mentality is a
Yeah,
thing.
it really is a thing.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
absolutely is.
Do you know, just to close out this argument,
Yeah.
there's a like a sitcom called Superstore.
Yes, I
I
love
love
Superstore.
Superstore.
Right, Superstore's great.
Which one? Yeah.
And there's this joke in one episode where the gang wants to do something, and then the guy Jonah, right, his main character,
Yeah.
he's like, people, this isn't democracy, this is mob rule. And somebody says, what's the difference? And he's like, huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was the majority.
Yeah.
Or what? Yeah.
Proceed. So yeah.
Oh, I loved Mateo.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a good show. That's a
Yeah,
really
it
good
is. It
show.
is funny. I love especially like when they just cut to a random customer
Yeah.
and they're doing the most arbitrary thing. I'm like, this is brilliant. This
Yeah,
is
That
fantastic.
is very the United States, though. I mean, because it's based off of Walmart,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's very, unfortunately, very true.
A lot of it is.
Customers.
Damn. Okay. Because that's just surreal. Like,
Which is, but we do find the most comedy. That's me. The most comedy in the truth.
oh, of course.
The truth is always funnier than fiction.
Oh yes.
And so, in thinking of this show, the truth is hilarious.
Oh yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of that is true.
It is because they're just normal people.
things.
Even the characters, right?
Yes,
Most of them are just normal people, and
Yeah.
they say the most outlandish things, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and I think, well, one thing I like about that is the reality of having that job. Even the people in lower management positions can't pay their bills hardly. I
Right.
mean, they can barely, make the rent, much less feed a teenage daughter or, whatever else is going on in their lives. So, especially, So I think that, I think maybe that was probably some of the purpose in the show. I don't know. I haven't read any of the backstory on it, but it is a good show. It definitely shows some
It is.
things. I know one show that you like that. I don't know if you did. I don't know if you really thought, wow, I wonder if people from the U.S. are really like this. My name is Earl.
Oh, My Name is Earl is amazing. It's just brilliant. The comedy it's fantastic. I didn't think people were like that. I see My Name is Earl like, okay, these are caricatures, right?
Yeah, yeah.
These are characters they're playing, but the comedy is so good. It's there's one joke where somebody's like, oh, some of the best things in life happen by accident. Peanut butter and chocolate, Mount Rushmore, and I was like, this is brilliant. This is amazing. This is a fantastic joke. Or when they teach him about global warming, Christian Slater teaches Earl about global warming, and he's just like, "What? Are you for serious? This is terrible. Does the president know?" Like, just like, what?
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's a good. And when I first watched it, I thought, oh, I really hope he doesn't think, because I had never watched it until you recommended it, and so I started watching. And I thought, oh, I really hope he doesn't think that we're all like, but unfortunately, a lot of us are. And then I told you that what is his ex-wife that married Crabman? What's her name?
Yes.
Her real name's Jamie, right?
Yes. The character's name. I'm blanking. It's been a while.
Yeah, sorry.
But yes, his wife. Yeah.
She's from Kinston, North Carolina. I mean, I went to college down close to Kinston, North Carolina, and Yeah, she's good at that role. She's really good at that role.
But
so
I mean,
it's so funny.
ultimately, it shouldn't be so bad to think maybe people do rush are like this, right? Because the bottom line is Earl is trying to,
Yeah, they're very kind.
right?
They are
He's
kind.
trying to do good. He's trying to
Yeah.
get his life together and pay it forward and all this.
And he takes care of his brother, who's not quite as
Oh, his brother's
adept
fantastic.
in life as Earl. So I think that kindness of and he never stopped loving her.
Oh no!
And he's,
he raised two kids who aren't his.
Yeah, they weren't his kids, and he raised them, and yeah, there's a kindness to him that I would hope we could all kind of be a little bit like. But it's so funny. It's just so funny.
It's brilliant, and no, even his brother. Like, okay, sure, he's not the smartest guy in the world,
Yeah.
obviously, but he's loyal, and
Yeah.
I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Like it's that you're there.
And you trust.
Right, exactly. Trust.
You can trust somebody, and I think that's beautiful when you can trust somebody.
Exactly. Like one show I'm watching now is Suits.
I love that show.
It's so good, right? It's so good.
Love that show.
And it's all about that, right? So like
Yes.
loyalty. That's what matters
You-
ultimately.
How far in are you?
I'm in season 5. It's my favorite season. So good. Like Harvey Specter unlocked, right? He was the best. He
Absolutely.
was infallible, and now no, he's got a lot of problems.
Yeah,
He's-
yeah. That's a good show. I love
It's
it.
so
love
good.
It.
There's the joke, right? Because there's some lines they always use, and the joke was like how to write an episode of Suits,
Yeah.
and it's just basically two people come together. I can't believe, what the hell are you doing? This deposition is over. Get the hell out of my office. And this is just this is a whole episode of Suits.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That is
Makes me want to
that's
get an office.
Oh, absolutely.
So I can-
I want an office. Yeah, I want Jessica's office.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would take that one.
So I can tell people get the hell out of my office.
Yeah.
That's so
Well, and I want that tea cart brought in at 4:00 in the afternoon.
good. Right.
I want her little tea cart. I mean, my goodness gracious, I want to be Jessica.
Did you know that a spin-off just started?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, just started. It Suits LA. Just started.
Okay, but how can I watch it? I have to get Peacock, don't
Probably, I don't know.
I? Okay, I don't know.
There was already a spin-off before
Oh, okay.
called Pearson, just about Jessica.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, last for one season.
Okay.
And other Suits LA with the guy who was Arrow, the DC hero.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
So now,
like him.
now we get to hear people tell them to get the hell out of their office all over again.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
deposition is
that's
over.
so funny. Well, I would say thank you so much. I hope we can,
Oh, no.
have you here again.
Of
and
course,
do
thank
this.
you.
We'll have a theme next time, other than just getting to know Rafael.
Sure, yeah, sounds good.
And thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. If you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at WineTogetherPod. And if you don't want to miss out on our regular weekly episodes, along with all our bonus content, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as subscribing, liking, and commenting on our YouTube, Wine Together Podcast.